I'm Renee Swope, and I'm here with Melissa Taylor, and we just finished a Christmas party, so we have a little friend with us.
Yes.
And that's why we have on matching necklaces, because we both got the same gift. But we were just talking about all the years that we've been with Proverbs 31 Ministries. Melissa, you've been here for 10 years.
Yep, sure have.
And I've been here for 18 years.
Woo! You old girl.
Don't you make that comment. But we were just talking about stories of things that God's done, and we wanted you to be a part of it. So, Melissa, one thing you were talking about was a funny email you got this week.
Yes. Okay, I got an email this week, and actually it was referring to something that happened a few years ago when a woman called in for prayer. And in this email she said, you know, that I just got this week, she goes, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I called you a few years ago for prayer, and you were sitting on an exercise ball, which I did for years. I sat on a big exercise ball on my desk, and while we were on the phone, it popped. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do remember you now.
I love that story.
Oh.
And then we were also talking about just stories of impact of the things that God's done in women's lives. And one of the most amazing stories is about a woman named Chris. And I met her at a retreat years ago in California. She had just gotten out of drug addiction rehab. She was a mom of 2 young kids who had found her on the floor after an overdose. She ended up in rehab. She came to that retreat, heard my message, subscribed to our magazine and our devotion back when we had a magazine, our devotions, came to She Speaks, and then came for like 4 more years after that. And her life has been completely changed. She said, you guys came alongside of me as a mom and a wife and taught me how to experience God's love and then how to live it out in my family. And I mean, it's just an amazing story.
Right. And also she learned that God wasn't finished with her yet.
Absolutely.
That her life might have looked like a mess, but God didn't view her as a mess.
What's so neat is then she came to She Speaks and began to minister out of the mess that God birthed a message. So it's just such a neat story, and we hear those stories all the time of what just this effect that God's having in women's lives, and we're just so honored to be a part of it. But then we were talking today about our stories and how God's used the ministry in our lives. So do you remember, you were saying earlier about how you got involved with Proverbs?
Right, because it wasn't like I just applied for a job and came to Proverbs 31 Ministries. I was in a Bible study, and we had a Proverbs 31 speaker who came and spoke to our Bible study. And she left with us a Proverbs 31 newsletter. And that newsletter became my mentor. I was a young mom, young wife. I didn't know anything about being a godly mother, wife, and how to really live it out naturally in my home. Proverbs 31 became my mentor, and I think really saved my marriage, and definitely gave us a lot more experiences as a family that will last forever.
You know, it's kind of similar to what happened to me. I was living in Virginia with my husband. We've been married about a year, and we were actually probably a little bit more than a year, but we were expecting our first child. We were moving to Charlotte, and my mom sent me a newspaper article about this itty-bitty ministry, and it called the Proverbs 31 Homemaker at the time, and she wrote on the article a little sticky note that said, these sound like the kind of friends you need. I hope you find them when you get to Charlotte. And that's how I found out about the ministry, started volunteering, not because I wanted a job, not because I wanted to be in ministry, but because I needed friends and I needed mentors. And I just came to the ministry out of a place of need, and I've now been here 18 years later, and I can say the same thing. Like, I was a pretty new Christian. I think I've been a Christian for maybe like 6 or 7 years, and how God has used the ministry and the women who were really just all of us just friends who needed friends.
Yes.
And then we want to come alongside of women and be that friend in the trenches of wherever you are in your everyday life, in your roles, in your relationships that can be so hard, in so many responsibilities that you have that you feel overwhelmed by. And we just want to come alongside of you, just like God did with us, and how He's doing that with women across the world in unbelievable ways. Just this year, we had an online study that we found out was reaching over, 24,000 women?
24,000 women in over 120 different countries.
Yeah, and that's just a reflection of what God's doing through our online ministries, through our speaking ministries, through our radio ministry. We just had a radio station sign up from the Philippines.
So exciting.
So we're reaching millions through radio, but today we also want to invite you into the ministry. Not to just be someone who we're ministering to, but we would love for you to meet us on the front lines and partner with us as God stretches out our boundaries and our impact, and there's just no way we could do it without friends like you. The ministry used to be so small, and yet God's taken that little we had and offered. He's made it so much more, immeasurably more, and now we would love to invite you to be a part of the immeasurably more that God is doing through Proverbs 31 Ministries. And so if you would like to partner with us financially, there's an opportunity for you to give as a partner monthly, or if you want to give a one-time donation here at the year end. We would love for you to join hands with us and with God and see what He's going to do in the next year.
Yes. All right.
Thanks, and have a Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, y'all. We love you so much and appreciate so much your love, your prayers, and your support.